Alright, so hey guys, this is Squeaks again. I'm going to be working on the tutorial that I showed you last time. So if you remember, last time I showed this, I showed you a camera system that we could build, where, if I were to demonstrate real quick, it allows you to simply switch between these three little camera angles shown around the map, just by pushing a button. Now, today I want to work on a door system, as well as some AI for the enemies. So I suppose I can just get to work on that now. I'm getting notifications about my battery being low. That's alright, I'm like the least professional person. Alright, so the first thing that you're gonna want to start out with is you're gonna want to have your animatronic character already imported. Now I didn't do this. Instead, I have a top-down character that I imported from the top-down blueprint starter kit. And in this case, you have the mannequin over here, which has a third-person animation blueprint. So that means that they can walk, run, jump, all that stuff. We're only really going to need 3 different states, which are idle and walk, or maybe if you're feeling a bit spicy, you can add the run as well. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to program like the basic part of the door. So I'm going to start by putting down another object. I'm just going to create a new blueprint class in here, and I'm going to call it door. Alright. Should be a actor. And so I can't talk today. I'm gonna call this one door. Okay, let's see. I think we should change this over to a static mesh actor. This way we just have more control over what it looks like. Alright, so now we go here. And we're gonna go with the cube again that we've been using. Should be this one. Yep. Okay. And then I'm gonna create a new material instance just so it can keep. I want to keep all these little colors separate just so we have a better understanding of where everything is. I'm gonna create another one. I'm just gonna call this one cube or door. And I think we should make this one just a yellow. That. Okay. Drag it out onto here. And I'm gonna see what the size of these little cubes are, so I'm gonna try to replicate this. Copy that. Go over here, make sure that these are locked, and just paste it. So now if I were to place this in the environment, it should be relatively small. Yeah, same size. So I'm gonna get rid of that little grabbable object. I'm gonna put this over here. So this little thing is gonna serve as the button for the door. So I'm just gonna set it up so I can overlap everything, and it has to have this little generate overlap events on, just so that we can get all the events and everything working properly. So once you've done that, you're gonna go here, cast to beefy motion controller. You should have that set up. And then for now, just in order to make sure that this works, as we did before, we need to make it so that it plays a noise. So I think for this one, we should do a click on button cue. Pretty sure last time we used the flash. Okay. So over here. Alright. So it's definitely working right now. We just have to get everything else attached to it working. So, funnily enough, you don't actually need a door object to be there. But in this case, just in order to make it work, we're going to use a bit of architecture from this little package that we got in the starter content. You should definitely use these if you're building a map with them. They're very useful. In this case, we're going to build a tiny little map around this desk over here. Always keep your grid snapping on while making maps like this, just so that the walls don't have little holes in them. So in this case, we're going to set this up, drag this over here so it's just showing there. And then we're going to slowly build around the desk. I apologize if I stutter a lot, by the way. I'm very new to recording these. So I'm going to kind of duplicate this, and then I'm going to move it back where the first one was. God, can you stop telling me my controllers are running low? I'm sorry about this. Okay. Then we duplicate that this way. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing here. This is kind of an unnecessary step. I'm just doing it so you guys can see how map building normally works. Alright, so once you have these two doors on either side set up, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create the door itself. So in this case, we go here, and we add a cube. Now this doesn't actually have to be a cube. In Sub-Zero, I actually did a vent sort of looking great, and it slides up and down, playing an animation instead of disappearing and reappearing like we're going to be doing now. So you can always try that. I can probably cover that later on if enough people want me to, but it kind of depends. So I'm going to create another material instance, or I'm going to use the floor texture that's included with this pack. Alright, so I'm going to expand this a little bit. Now we're not going to get it exact, but it doesn't actually have to be exact inside of the blueprint editor, because we can edit it later on when we're actually in the level. So here we are, we just have this giant cube sitting here. It's not where we want it to be. So I'm going to move it over here to this door. Move it here. I'm going to squish it out a bit so that it sits in there more. I'm going to scale it up this way, scale it up this way. And that should be good enough, because it's not really covering any sides. And then we start off with this thing, invisible. So what we have to do now is we have to do some kind of toggle. So in this case, I've been using a branch. And normally I start with a command that's just on, and then if it's not on, it'll set itself to... Well, no, first what we want to do is we want to have something called closing. Now, you don't want them to spam the door open and shut again, because that can cause exploits in the game at times. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get closing, and you're going to want to branch off of this first. And if it goes here, it'll kind of decide if it's still shutting or not, which if it is, then it can't go. But if it's not shutting and it's already been shut or opened, it'll do it. So you're going to want to make it so that both of these will set it to closing. And bring it back into the branch. And then give it a delay, like 0.2, yeah. It's already a good amount. And then set. No, I'm going to have to be the last event. We should have it so that it sets on, depending on which one it's already set to. So in this case, if it's false, set it to true. If it's true, set it to false. And then both of these will set closing to false as well. So this will make it so it's an easy toggle system that only works when it's given the resources to. We should also make it so just so we get a good confirmation if it works or not, that this is here. And then if it doesn't work, you can just use the build failed sound, I think. No. Compile failed. Yeah, that's good enough. So if it's correct, it'll go through this process. And we need to make it so it also toggles the visibility. Now, I don't really like using toggles just because they're kind of clunky to me at least. So I'm going to set it up here where we're using this visibility node. If you're going for immersion, which I assume you are, you should always kind of use animations instead. But this is just so I can get the very basic stuff down. So if it's on, then just do that. Yeah. Alright. So I'm gonna give this a shot. I know it's not built. I have kind of an issue with building things. It takes a long time. Alright, so if I were to go over here and press this button. So the door itself is working and everything. It's a pretty basic process. It just opens and shuts. But yeah, if you press it too fast, it will play the compile failed noise, meaning that, you know, you don't have to keep this in the final version of the game, just make it so it doesn't do anything like it did in Sub-Zero, but in this case, you know, it's just that we can kind of get a feel for if the door is being opened or shut too early. So, we have some very basic mechanics going on here, but we should probably move on to the stuff of the enemies next. I'm just gonna get that ready first. So, we're gonna be coding an enemy from scratch, Normally what I do when I make a game is that I use the snark code that I built for Sub-Zero, since he's a very generic enemy. But in this case, we're going to try to do it from scratch. So I'm going to create a new character. I'm just going to call this enemy. You can call this whatever you want depending on the name of the character. I'm just going to move this into virtual reality blueprint. Can you stop telling me about that? Oh my god, okay. So enemy. There's already a mesh option, so I'm just going to select the mannequin. Let's do a female mannequin, but I don't know if it matters or not, because both of them are pretty similar, I think, in terms of their skeleton. I'm going to rotate it so it's facing the proper way, and give it the animation blueprint of a... is it third person? Okay. Yeah. Switch it back to one I'm more familiar with. There. Okay. Yeah, this one I think also has more optimized poly counts. So I think in this case, this is like our best bet to use. Alright, so we had this little character put together already. But he's going to work a bit differently in this case. So I'm going to start him off in the view of one of our cameras. This is always kind of ideal when you're making a game like this, to start them off inside of a camera. I don't do this too often with Sub-Zero. They start outside of cameras and everything. But it kind of depends what you're going for, because if you're going to be on top of like a stage, that's normally when you want to put them there. So we have the mannequin guy. Actually, I'm going to switch it back to the female one just because it looks a bit better. And I'm really sorry if I'm just kind of messing around. Alright, so we have the female mannequin. That looks pretty nice. So first of all, this entire place should be covered with navigation already. But I should make it clear that you should always have navigation set up, even if the player themselves aren't going to be moving. We should also make it so the door doesn't actually affect navigation. So I'm going to go here. Can ever affect navigation? Yes. I'm just going to set that to no. Alright. So, yeah, you can see it. This is now a traversable area. I'm going to move this over here, just so we have a back of the office as well. Because if it just came around the back, that'd be kind of going against everything this door is supposed to do. So normally what I like to do with this sort of thing is I like to make it so they kind of wander around a little bit. So I'm going to go here. And then event tick. No, I'm an idiot. Okay. Need some variables first. So I'm going to set one variable up as walking. We're going to set another one, and this one's going to be a float, and we're going to call it wait time. Now, unlike most FNAF games that you make into something like Click Team, where a character kind of teleports from place to place, in this they're going to be actually walking around the map. So you have to kind of be careful and set it up in a way that actually feels more realistic. And the way I did that is I made it so that the more the nights go on, the faster they get. But at the same time, it decreases the wait time as opposed to their walk speed. So I just find that works a bit better. So I'm going to set this up. No, don't set the wait time, but I'm going to have the wait time for now be 5 at default. But we should expose this variable just in case you want to change it as nights go on. So next, we're going to grab walking, and we are going to branch off of it. I know that this isn't exactly like the most cost-effective way of doing it, but it still works at least. Alright, so if the walking is false, then AI move to, and then here we have this, self, of course, destination. So this one's a bit complicated, but it should work out. So we need 3 different vectors. I'm just going to call this location 1, location 2, and location 3. I have to make all of these vectors. I should have made the first one a vector, but I'm a bit of an idiot, so. Okay. All 3 of these are vectors now. So what you're going to want to do next is you are going to want to set this one up as current vector. I'm going to plug it into here. The acceptance radius, I think, is just okay with 5. I don't think it matters. I think that 5 is like a pretty general way of doing it. So then you go here, and I think, no, it's more this, I believe. So on success, multigate. I don't think we should have it loop, but I think what we should do, which I did last time, is actually loop back around to this reset key over here, and this will kind of reset the node. So on success, we should have it, this one, be set current vector to location 2, like this. And then this time we do it again with location 3. And then at the beginning of the game, we should have it so that it sets to location 1. We should expose these 3 variables, by the way, because it's going to be important later. So what we're going to want to do here is, well, let's just move it counterproductive. This will come into play. You set up the wait time, and this way it'll actually stop and think before it actually goes ahead and starts moving around. And just in case, it's best that you set up a do once node, but if I'm wrong about this, I'll make sure to remove it, just so that you guys know. So over here, you're going to do a delay. You want to set up another Boolean node, which I call distracted node, but you can call it whatever you want. And basically, I'm going to have it go like this, and it'll branch off, and it will go into distracted. And it will branch off from here, and first, if it's not distracted, it's going to print a string that just said distraction false. So from there, it's a matter of delaying another couple seconds and trying again. And let's do this in multi-gate, I think, but this is just the way I do it. So branch off for a couple seconds, and you repeat the branch. So distracted, if that is set to false, this is when it would attack the player. So we're just gonna print out a string that says trigger jump scare. And then with both of these, oh wait, no, I did it wrong. Okay, go here, get rid of this, and then if this is the case, set current vector to location 1. And you kind of just restart it. And same goes for this node. Alright. So, we have that set up. We also need to make it so it resets this node at the very end. Now, if I were to run this real quick, I think it's just going through the wait time first. Yeah, so they're going to 0, 0, 0, which doesn't make much sense at first, but then you realize you have to set up the locations of each spot that they're going to stop at. So we want location 1 to be over here in this camera, for instance. So we're going to set this up. I really hope this tutorial is useful to someone at least. I'm kind of bad at teaching, but I'm hoping that this at least works somehow. And I want to copy all of its location. And then set this to 200. I'm going to decrease the wait time as well, just in case. If I run it now she is running over to these cubes. Alright. Oh god, okay. Scared the crap out of me. You should probably remove this node as well, just in case. But like, you know. Okay. Yeah, my bottle popped open for some reason. Alright, so runs over there. And then it stops for a second, and then it goes over to section 2, and then it just kind of stays there, because all the rest of them are set that way. So in this case, we're going to have it go over to here this time. So again, you kind of copy over all of its location data. There probably should be an easier way of doing this, but for the most part, this is just what works for me. So, alright. And then location 3, judging by what's the closest, be this section over here. So we're going to want to copy everything in again. Again, I know it's a bit of a tedious process, but it at least works when it's supposed to. So, alright. Do that. And set it back to 200. Now, This is the part where things get a bit complicated, but it comes into play with that distraction node. You should also move the button over to this door, or make a duplicate, depending on what you want to do. I'm just going to make a duplicate for now. So the door is over here. We should move it over to here. Yeah, that's good enough. Right? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so next, when they go to this door, this is when you're going to be testing out the distraction node. So first, event tick. You should be doing this in the level blueprint. This is access to pretty much every actor at once. So what I do is I do a sequence first, just in case you have to come back here, which I normally do. And then branch. I get this door, and I get the on variable, like that, and I plug it into here. And then I have it set. Whatever enemy is corresponding to this door, this is going to be their setup. So I grab this, and then set distracted. And then if it's true that the door is shut, it's true they'll be distracted, and same goes for if they're not. So if they're not distracted, it'll just be set to none. So now, just in order to make sure this works, I'm going to have it so that test it out real quick. Okay, that's moving really fast, so I think we should do something first about that before we jump into the game. What I tend to do is I tend to slow down the character movement speed to around 150. And then from there, you should increase the wait time just so that they move a bit slower from place to place and you have enough time to see them on the cameras. So I'm going to set it to around 15 seconds. So now, if we watch on the cameras, you can actually see the character right around there. They're just kind of standing there for now, but then in a couple seconds they're going to start moving. Oh, whoops, go back. Yeah, so you can see them now that they're actually walking. And they slowly turn around. You can actually see them out the door right now, but normally this would be fixed with lighting or as a wall there or something. So it's in this camera. And she walks over there, she stands, and then she goes this way. And then she comes heading back around when the countdown is over. Yep. Alright. So she should be heading to this side of my room. I can't see her on any cameras right now. Yeah, there. So when she stops, I'm just going to see if it'll actually trigger first. So there's one. There's two. So, technically speaking, she would have killed me already if we didn't shut the door. So if I were to run this again, and hopefully this time I resent her properly so it actually works. First thing I want to do is I want to go over here and open this door up. One of my sensors broke, so it's a bit harder to play now. So as you can see, now she's kind of moving around the space. Again, normally shouldn't be able to leave this room, but I'm just doing it for debug purposes. So she goes over to this camera over here. She goes over to this one. She's going to sit in front of it. It's always good to have your location set up in the camera, just so that you can actually see them. And then she goes out of my room. So I'm going to head back into the office real quick. Hang on. Okay, this is a bit... Alright, my controllers are dying, I'm sorry. Hang on. This is a bit of a pain. Alright, where... Oh, God, I'm sorry. My right controller's dying again. Alright. So if I'm correct... Okay, we should probably remove the collision on these doors. Because right now I'm able to access them just by touching them, and that's not what you want. You want them to push the button on the desk. So I'm going to just lower the enemy count, the wait time, and we're going to give that another shot. Which hopefully this time the controller batteries don't just die on me. Alright, so there she goes, just kind of walking about. Okay. she's going that way now. And we're just waiting for her to show up at my door. Give it a minute. God. So I give the door like a little shut there. Try to teleport out now. She should have left already. I'm not sure. Yeah, so she's already gone. She's already gone elsewhere. In this case, she's going back over to her first location to repeat the cycle that we just set up. That should basically cover everything regarding very basic anime AI and the doors. I'm going to cover other stuff next time I do one of these. If I do one, it kind of depends if people actually want it or not. But yeah, that's the very basic way of setting up anime AI and door. Thank you for watching, if you did watch all the way to here. And I hope that whatever project you make turns out well. Thank you.